have to be pretty quick because we're kind of burning through some time here. This is from the sequel, Brightly, which, as I mentioned, is going to be coming out soon. You can see the cover over there. It's also on these snazzy little bookmarks. And this is sort of another scene along that same vein. It's toward the end of the book, and it's another character interaction. Philo, as a character, who most of you have not really met except for what you just heard, he has been a character that I think a lot of people have responded to and sort of found him interesting. And I found him very interesting too, and he's one of my favorites to write. So getting into his head is always a good time for me. So let's do this thing. Amelia said something about Bridgestone being really quiet, Alice said. Almost no problematic activity, at least nothing that's caught the guild's attention. I wonder why that is. Nemen and Morgan, Philo said, looking up. They're more powerful than some of the local she-lords. They're at least a match for Connell, and he's one of the Tooth-Headed Danon. That puts them well above every other non-human in Bridgestone. Nobody wanted to get in their way, but you could never tell what might set them off. As long as they were in the city, it was easier to just lay low and not draw any attention. Everyone who knew it was good for them kept their business behind closed doors. But they've been gone for almost a year, Alice said. If Nemen and Morgan were keeping things in line, shouldn't everything have gotten messier by now? Maybe not, Jason mused. Maybe somebody's still making them nervous. Like who? Philo asked. Connell? Actually, I was thinking you. Philo shook his head. That's stupid. I already told you they're afraid of you. No, they're not. They are. The weaker fairies especially, mostly everybody else who's seen you work or spoken with someone who has. I've heard the talk. People know about you, Philo. They know what you can do. Which is what, exactly? Advanced magic and spell work, for one thing, Jason began, ticking the items off on his fingers. And absolutely insane field work, for another. Single-handedly locating packs of stray gargoyles. Fighting trolls. I already told you that I didn't. Nobody else knows that. As far as they're concerned, you did. And how about killing a bloody bones with your bare hands? That's nothing to sneeze at. Come on, Lee went with me on that job. She didn't kill it, though, did she? You did. You're the one who could. And besides, Lee wasn't raised by Nemen and Morgan. No, Philo allowed, but Alice was too, and you and Nasser apprenticed under them just the same as we did. It's no different. Alice and Jason exchanged a glance, and Philo felt a sudden urge to throw his drink on them. Had they talked about this before? When Jason finally spoke, his voice was soft, like he was trying to break a piece of bad news. It wasn't the same, he said. They always treated you differently. I know they usually just treated you worse than the rest of us, but I think they had their reasons for that. What are you talking about? I think they could see that you were made of stronger stuff than the rest of us, and they made you prove it. Every day. Philo was shaking his head again. Shut up, Jason. I'm not saying it was right, Jason said quickly. God knows it wasn't. All I'm saying is that they left Flicker to you. Just you. That means something. Of course they left it to me. I was the only one left. Don't you get it? Jason asked. They could have thrown you into the street if they wanted, or killed you, or burned Flicker to the ground, but they didn't. You're the closest thing they had to a successor, Philo. Alice said gently. They didn't have to pick anybody, but they picked you. Everybody knows it. People might try to puff themselves up when they're standing in front of you so they look tough, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to be on your bad side. Philo swallowed, stopping. Please. For a moment, Alice was silent. Then she said, we didn't mean to upset you. We were just trying to... I'm not upset, Philo said gruffly. I just don't want to talk about it. It's nonsense. Alice nodded once, though she looked unconvinced. Sure, Philo. Whatever you say. But it was already done. Even as they made small talk, Jason and Alice were watching him the way they might watch an animal likely to bolt or attack. As long as Philo could remember, they looked at him like he was normal, like he belonged with them. But now their gazes made him feel as if he were riding around in someone else's skin. And I guess before we get any further, because we are winding down a little bit, let us get our little drawing underway. Now let's see, you, sir.